Alright, so welcome to another Brexit Explain video. You must be sick of me by now. Before I get into it, I want to say a sincere thank you to all of those commenters who have been looking out for me, telling me to get some sleep. You're right, I probably should, and when Brexit ends, hopefully I will. Anyway, on to the video. In this video, we'll discuss the vote on extending Article 50, happening this evening. I know we covered it a bit in Tuesday's video, but like the no deal vote, I think it deserves a whole video by itself. The vote, luckily for my sleep schedule, is the last major vote scheduled for this week, and discusses whether or not the UK should request a short extension to Article 50. The operative word in that sentence is short. May has made it clear that she prefers an extension short enough that the UK doesn't need to get involved with the upcoming European parliamentary elections. So, until July 1st at the latest. Before we get into what sort of extension the EU wants, let's talk about whether the vote will pass, and what will happen if it doesn't. So at this point, a majority of MPs have rejected May's deal and also rejected no deal. Logically, the only option left is an extension. Surely then, this means that a majority of MPs want an extension. Well, that's an optimistically logical prediction. MPs are notoriously illogical, and there's still a chance that the vote will fail. Shameless plug coming up, but as we mentioned in our no deal game theory video, some MPs in pro-Brexit constituencies might be tempted to vote against an extension, even if they don't believe in Brexit. Doing so will give them some Brexiteer credentials, even if they voted against the no deal yesterday. In this situation, MPs will hope that their vote won't make the difference, and they can vote against what they believe in politically to make their constituency happy and help them get re-elected in the future. Because of this risk, and because so many MPs are making this same calculation, it's possible that they might miscalculate, and it's worth thinking about what happens if MPs end up voting against an extension. The UK is then in a position where it's rejected all possible options. What happens then? Well, to be honest, no one knows, but it's my job to engage in baseless speculation, so here it is. Legally, if nothing happens by the 29th of March, the default position is a no-deal exit. Given how opposed Parliament is to no deal, they would likely try and force a change of course, either by having another vote on the extension, or trying to revoke Article 50 by no confidencing the government. Basically, it would get desperate and dirty. Anyway, let's talk about what will happen if Parliament votes for an extension. As you might know, the UK can't extend Article 50 unilaterally. It also needs unanimous approval from the EU. So if Parliament votes for an extension, then May has to go back to Brussels and negotiate the extension. The EU will then probably come back with a specific extension proposal, and then Parliament will have another vote on that specific extension. There are basically two options. The first is a short extension, until July at the latest, with the UK not taking part in European Parliament elections. Although some EU officials have said that they expect the UK to participate even if the extension expires in July. If the UK gets this short extension and doesn't have to participate in the European Parliament elections, then essentially it will have to decide between May's deal and a no deal before July 1st, without the option of being able to extend Article 50 again. This is because they won't have taken part in the election, and therefore they wouldn't have any representatives in the European Parliament. And it's very difficult to stay in the EU without any MEPs. Another option is a longer extension. This would give both sides time to negotiate a completely new deal, or hold a general election or a second referendum. This would possibly involve the UK taking part in European parliamentary elections, although there's a couple of ways around this. The UK could just ask the incumbent British MEPs to keep their seats until Brexit happens, so that there wouldn't have to be an election. Otherwise, the UK government could just appoint national representatives without holding elections, as Romania and Bulgaria did in 2007 when they first joined the EU. Although this might be a bit ironic, given how much complaining there's been about unelected EU officials. So does the EU want a long extension or a short one? Well, they've been sending mixed signals, so no one's quite sure. But according to some sources, they're leaning towards a longer extension, because a short extension makes no deal a lot more likely come July 1st, and that's the one thing the EU really doesn't want. We'll ultimately find out what kind of deal the EU wants if the UK Parliament votes to extend the deadline this evening. We'll be publishing articles and posts about the result of tonight's vote on our website and across our social channels. To make sure you don't miss anything, follow us across our socials by searching for TLDR News.